Precious queen.
Yes, Paige.
Amber, can I show you what I got today?
Yeah. Sorry, at first I thought it was a pop-up tent, and then I thought it was like a rubber ring thing, a donut. What are they called? A donut?
Like a lazy ring. Like a lazy river, not a lazy ring.
Like a lazy ring. Yeah.
ring.
And so I got it today, and I started him. He's a whale.
Yay! Oh, that's fun. I like that.
Yeah, I like that too.
I tried to help with it came with lots of string in the pack, so I tried to help with like winding it around the bits of cardboard, but it got in a really big knot, so I had to stop.
Literally immediately she was like, I'll help. It's knotted, and I was like,
what have you done this week, Amber?
Are we gonna do an intro like we did last week? Because that's going to take a lot of the video up if we do that every week. Hello.
Should we do 2 words each?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of Pals. We're here again. Another week, another filming.
Yeah, so obviously last week was pretty goofy. But that's a massive part of our friendship. We're pretty goofy.
From Lucy being ill all the time.
Another part of our friendship is that we can be quite serious. We like to have serious discussions. We love to like chat about all the different things that we have knowledge on and like what we don't have knowledge on, and then we research and we're like, oh my god, and this. And even if we don't have any knowledge on it, we'll probably still chat about it anyway, because every day is a learning day.
Yeah, which brings us on to this week. We are going to be talking about the documentary that's just come out on Netflix about Cyntoia Brown. It's called Murder to Mercy, the Cyntoia Brown story. And we'd also like to start this off by saying that Cyntoia Brown was actually not paid or contacted prior to the filming of this documentary. It was used, like previous interviews and stuff like that were used to construct it. So we don't want to promote that really. But Cyntoia Brown has released a memoir. Called Free Cyntoia, My Search for Redemption in the American Prison System. So even if you watch the documentary, go buy the book too, because I
think the main thing for me throughout this whole thing was, which I know you got, like, I know you think so too, like how you can look at that girl, that child who was 16 years old, even the way she was speaking in court, look at her and go, she's mature enough to be tried as an adult.
But yeah, like that's what, like, I just don't understand how jury could not see that a 16-year-old being in a 43-year-old man's house wasn't like a bit fishy and not like premeditated first-degree murder, like was premeditated first-degree murder. All right.
Police officer being like, I think she's talking to her psychologist or a doctor who's in to see her at the time, and she's like, he told me he was going to get me a deal with the DA. He told me that. Like, how can you go home at night, sleep at night, knowing that you've tricked a child?
Yeah, it's like, even like one of the bits that really stuck out for me was when the psychologist was going through her Miranda rights, and she was like, yeah, I understand it now, but I didn't understand it then. And that is like literally the exact same, I mean, a little bit less brutal, but like as the 5 boys and When They See Us, that was like the same kind of like premise of, let's just take these children into a room and try and get them to speak to us before their parents or lawyers or whatever comes. I also can't stop thinking about just going back to the fact that she was 16, and I mean, obviously, it just like chimes to the fact that the American judicial, is that a word?
Judicial, yeah.
Oh, system is fucked. But the James Bulger case, I'm like, I always go back to that case like every couple of years or something, because it's obviously like one of the most disgusting crimes that's happened in the UK. And I understand that Cyntoia was 6 years older, but these two boys sought out a toddler and then took, you know, like, I mean, I'm not going to go into the details of the case because trigger warning, but that was like premeditated, first degree, like sadistic murder, and they were released when they were 18, and one has already reoffended twice and is back in jail. Like,
later on in the documentary where they I think it skips to like 2016, where Tennessee overrides the fact that the law that says minors are prosecuted as prostitutes, and they're like, now in 2016 they're seen as victims of the sex trade. Like Cyntoia was a prostitute, and I'm just like, I completely understand that 12 years have passed, but how can you not see that that was the same thing?
Yeah, I think, and obviously that's what prompted, like, Rihanna was like the first one that was mentioned on the documentary. I don't know if she was the first person to be like ding or whatever, how it got on her radar or what have you, but that's why she posted about it. And then I don't know, it didn't cover it massively in the documentary, but like, how, I'm interested to know how, if at all, the hashtag Free Cyntoia Brown thing influenced the outcome, and like how does that sort of media affect those sorts of results, and how many people are sitting in jail cells just waiting for their Netflix special. Like Adnan Syed got a podcast, he got Serial, and Serial was huge when it first came out. It was absolutely massive, and it became a huge thing. And I remember every other week seeing a new thing to be like, this appeal was signed by like millions of people online for this case, and now it's being taken to court. And the same thing happened with I forget his first name, Avery, the Making a Murderer guy, like Stephen Avery. The same thing happened with him. And how many documentaries are not being made, and how many people are we just sitting on their justice because the media is not talking about it? So like, how do we fix that?
Yeah, like I think that I've over the past like week or so been looking into, like, because you both saw my tweet about people sharing the video of the man being shot, which is disgusting, and like the kind of like performativity of Black bodies when to validate a crime that's been committed. And like, I always feel like the hashtags come from like a direct response of Black Lives Matter, but there's been like, it always like hits me a little bit sour because of how many racist responses there were to Black Lives Matter, and just like kind of like ignorant, you know, like Blue Lives Matter, and just like all lives matter and stuff like that, but without actually acknowledging why there's a need for those kind of things. And I think that there's a lot of people that will jump on these trends and jump on like this like public outrage without knowing anything about what's actually going on, so that like hinders it. Going on to Kim Kardashian training as a lawyer, like I think I watched an interview that she did where she said like, oh, I get hundreds and hundreds of letters and I just look through and pick ones I like, and like that just like didn't sit well with me, where like when you look at someone like Cyntoia, who was trying to get out of prison for 15 years, and the men, and when they see us, like that are just so scarred from being incarcerated for so long, and then you've got a celebrity that started a reality TV show and just picks someone they like it just I don't know.
Yeah, it just doesn't sit right, and you can see clear as day that they're doing it for the publicity and doing it for the I'm such a help, I'm doing so much for the world, when in actual reality you're not. Fine, you're helping the people you've picked, lucky then, you like their case, so you've picked them. What about everyone else?
Yeah, I just think it's like, if you have that sort of platform, then like just help people. You don't need to, I don't know. But then I was reading a case about like, because I was just like looking into like police brutality, and the kind of the question as to are you armed or not, and how that constitutes you being able to kill someone in police matters, was that facial expressions for. And there was a police officer who was acquitted of killing Melissa Williams and Timothy Russell in 2012, and he fired 137 shots into their car, and he was acquitted of 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter or voluntary manslaughter, I can't remember. But it's literally just like, okay, so you... And then like there was Stephon Clark, when the police officers cornered him and he had a phone in his hand. Michael Brown, Ahmed Aubrey, not sure, that was just like a vigilante, a like misled vigilante kill. It's just ridiculous. Like, America's just horrifying with the way that they deal with, and the just baffles me.
Like, it's because of racism. I don't know how to explain it better than that.
Yeah, it's like they're 4 times more likely to die of COVID, because 9 times out of 10, if people, like, if someone from like a minority ethnic group phones the doctor or phones 111 and says this is serious, they're turned away. Like, I think it was the first male nurse that died of COVID died in his house, and he'd phoned, and his family had phoned like every single day, and he was just getting worse and worse, and they were like, no, it's not severe enough, and then he died. Like, and it's just like, but Tom Hanks can get a test when he's not even showing any symptoms. Okay.
A thing I really liked was the prosecutor in 2008, who was assigned to be against Cyntoia, then showing up at her parole, and it's like, was it pardon and parole hearing, and being completely on her side and saying that she should
there he goes.
her. And like, I think that was like the biggest testament to her character at that moment, of like, this man was so, he even said it himself, didn't he? He was like, I completely wholeheartedly 100% thought that 51 years was the best thing for this woman, and now I'm meeting her today, and she deserves a second chance, which I think was really interesting. Like, interesting. And
it's like, I was like, I think I was like obviously wanting to see the best in her and like appreciate her as a victim rather than as a perpetrator, which, you know, like has its good and bad things associated with it. But I was definitely like, her attitude when she was 16 years old, sitting in front of a trial of like a lot of jurors, and, you know, like I was like, what's your tone, but like, how is she, you know, like, then it emerged that she has a personality disorder, so of course that's why she was acting like that, and of course that's why she was speaking like that, and it was just like, it just made me want to like just shake the screen, because I was just like, oh, but why didn't you find that out sooner? Why, you know, like, but then how are you to know, like, that, you know, the people weren't prosecuted as people that were involved in a sex trafficking ring in 2004, so how are you to know that that was like signs of her being a victim of something that was out with the situation but still very much involved in it? It's just, even if I hadn't learned that she wasn't involved with it, I would have been able to tell that she wasn't involved with it, because like that was all you needed. Even if she hadn't been involved right up until then, it was just like a 2-minute interview that made her a person and not a court case, and that was like the only kind of impression I got of her, was either her as a 16-year-old or her at her parole hearing, and it was just like jarring, and I wanted to kind of build a relationship with her, but it didn't allow that because she isn't involved in it. So
it almost felt like a cheap YouTube documentary. Like, it didn't feel like it was
Netflix. They'll be quaking.
Mm.
It just didn't feel like
But
it
it's
had
true. The Pizzagate documentary is about as good as the I'm gonna link that below, don't you worry.
I'm not getting into that.
But like, same thing, like you don't ever see Cyntoia's actual feelings and her actual account of things from where she is now.
That's the best way to describe it. It felt like a cheap YouTube documentary. It did not feel like a big budget, like badass, well-made Netflix documentary.
Yeah, another reason that's obviously justified by the fact that she wasn't involved in it at all is the fact that a massive thing they cut out is her like quite extensive relationship with Cutthroat. I know that's like street name and I can't remember his full name, but like it leaves all that out. And it was like an unofficial article. It was kind of like a blog about somebody else's feelings towards this case. That was like, I think, and they were saying basically that the reason they think she stole the money and the truck and went back the next day or two to get more money and other things is all because of him. Like he was him.
And he was 8 years older than her. He was 4 years old. He was an accountable adult and she was 16. And still the only name I know is hers. Like,
that was literally my first thought as soon as they said, oh, why did she go back and take the wallet and the truck? And I was like, well, because she's like operating under a pimp that told her to go out and get money by selling her body. So she went out and did that. But like, obviously other things happened, but like that's what she did, so she needed to deliver. He wasn't going to care. I was thinking about Three Girls and the fact that that's a dramatized account of real stories, and everyone was completely outraged. So it's like you almost have to dramatize an event of trauma in order to appeal to people and for them to believe you, and like that's just wrong.
Well,
like
it's a little bit like, I know earlier you mentioned when they see it, it's like I saw so much on Twitter of like, oh my god, I've just watched this, and like it's so heartbreaking. And like I watched the first episode. I think I watched the first episode and half of the second episode, and I had to stop it because I couldn't really watch any more of it. And everyone was like, it's so heartbreaking, it's so this, it's so that, I can't believe that happened. Oh my god. But you hear nothing about anything else. Like those same people that are posting those things haven't posted a single thing about the jogger that was shot the other day. I'm really sorry, I don't remember his name. And like no one actually gives a shit unless it's like shot on a cool camera and it's like cool actors and like it's like what you say, like it shouldn't have to be created into a performance for us to care, but that seems to be the way that we're going in this like Netflix 21st century time that we live in.
Yeah, it's like people don't believe it unless there's evidence, and then the evidence is there, and then suddenly it's someone else's fault. But then if it's dramatized evidence, then it's like, I know, oh my goodness, yeah, there is actually a problem in the justice system with racism. How on earth could we not know that?
Yeah.
I finished this, sorry.
Why?
I was really thirsty.
You could have just gone on drink. Thank you so much, everybody, for
Everybody.
so much, everybody. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Like and subscribe.
Wait, stop. No. Sorry if it seemed a bit waffly this week. We'll get better, I promise. I can't promise that. I'm sorry.
Tune in next week.
Dance Moms. Oh my god, spoiler!
I know earlier you mentioned, oh my god, what's it called? The thing you just thought was a documentary, but
When They See Us.
the only thing I could think of is Now They See Me.
Dead Kiwi, which is just a harrowing horror
The
film.
Magic Community.